Hey everyone, it's Kaylee Reams here with Dr. Reams Concierge PT. I'm here with Karisa Kaye. She is a sex and marriage therapist. We're here to talk a little bit about how adding a counselor to your recovery team will benefit you. So, Karisa, do you want to say anything about yourself or what you do a little bit more?
Sure. I just want to thank you for allowing me to speak to the population you're working with.
Yeah.
It's a very brave and courageous population. The fact that you've made it through cancer treatment or are going through cancer treatment takes immense courage and mental fortitude. So as a mental health professional, I greatly appreciate the power of the human mind, the power of the human spirit, and I'm excited to be able to talk a little bit about how we can integrate that into recovery for survivors.
Yeah, so some of the big things that someone may go see a counselor for after cancer treatments or even during is trying to get some control of the situation. Some people, some women feel like my doctors are running everything. I have no control of my life anymore. New self-identity, changes in breasts, changes in like a hysterectomy, hair, new roles in the household, right? Pain with sex. So there's a lot of things that can cause pain with sex. So seeing a counselor for that, I will tell you, I have seen Karisa for pain with sex, not related to counseling, or not related to cancer, but I've done it. It is helpful. And so things like that that you may not think of, but the mind plays so much into all of these things that having someone on your team is extremely beneficial. So if someone were to come to you for pain with sex, talk to me a little bit about what that looks like.
Sure.
I know from experience, but tell them.
Sure. So I think for one, people don't know a lot about sex therapy. So you should first hear that a sex therapist, an ethical sex therapist, at least here in the South, is not going to, it's going to be a conversation, right? So the things that happen physically, you're going to take home and practice with your partner or practice with yourself. So it's never going to be a getting undressed in session or anything physically reenacting in session. Some people aren't sure about that, so that sounds silly for for me to even have to say that, but if you don't know what to expect, that's part of it. So you would reach out, we would do an informed consent process. There are several sex therapists in the area. I always tell people, be picky, it's very vulnerable. If I'm a good fit for what you're needing, wonderful. If not, I'm happy to direct you to other sex therapists that are qualified to help. So it's just an informed consent, kind of an interview process of getting to know the therapist, me getting to know the client. And then I'm going to talk with you about your goals, therapeutic goals that you would have for yourself. What do you want to be different or better as a result of investing in this process? It's going to be a lot of conversation. Pain with sex specifically is actually really common for women. There are a lot of females that have pain with sex, but it doesn't have to be your norm, and it's definitely not necessary or even healthy. So there are a lot of reasons why people have pain with sex, and then post-cancer treatment, even more reasons why women have pain with sex, okay? So as far as me helping you diagnose that and treat that, there's a whole questionnaire, if you will, or set of sessions that we'll talk about as it relates to your body, how you experience pleasure, how you experience your body, your history with intimacy in general. Again, as Kaylee mentioned, the brain is the most powerful sex organ, and so a lot of women have different core beliefs about intimacy, about their bodies, about their experiences with a partner, and then you throw in cancer treatment on top of that can really complicate things or really bring things to the surface that maybe you've been trying to repress for a while, but now you no longer can. We have to talk about it. So I talk about the biological piece with women, the physical piece. We're going to talk about hormones, after treatment, what kind of chemotherapy did you go through, or treatment in general. A lot of things can happen with vaginal dryness and atrophy after treatment. So talking about different lubricants or moisturizers that feel helpful, and Kaylee can help with that as well. That's one of her areas of expertise.
And Erin, who we interviewed the other day.
Dr. Schinkel, Westner.
What's Westner now?
Yes, okay. So it's a collaborative effort. So we're going to talk about the physical piece, the biological piece. We'll talk about the psychological piece, which again is huge for women. The relational piece, how we feel connected or disconnected with our partners, is a really big part of healthy intimacy and fulfilling intimacy. So I always say, for women, our heads, our hearts, and our vaginas are all connected. So most people don't know that. And so for women, long-term and monogamous relationships, when they start to feel hurt or resentful or disconnected from their partner, a lot of times we can shut down sexually from our own bodies. So sex therapy is going to be kind of an investigation into all of those pieces, and just kind of a journey of being curious and being a student of the client, and as you as a client being curious about your own body and your own experience.
And I will tell you, Karisa's helped me find other practitioners that I didn't quite realize I needed to help with my pain with sex, right? I am a physical therapist that helps women with pain with sex, and I still needed that help with some of the psychological effects, other practitioners, stuff like that. So even if you're not in the Chattanooga area, finding a sex therapist that is on your side and helping you kind of find other practitioners is huge.
Yes. And unfortunately, Kaylee and I have talked about, I think the average is women will visit 11, the average number, which takes an immense tenacity, an average of 11 practitioners before they are accurately diagnosed for sexual dysfunction. And oftentimes that includes pain with sex. So a lot of women hear, unfortunately, from the physicians, it's just in your head. It's just psychosomatic. Well, a lot of the time it's not, actually. And so a lot of women have been dismissed, and so they kind of take this backseat of well, I guess this is my destiny, and it does not have to be your destiny at all. There are a lot of awesome resources out there to help women work out of pain with sex.
Yeah. So if someone were to come in, a little bit more common, probably what more people would think of going to see a counselor for, change in identity and in their self, whether it's due to mastectomy, hair loss, changes in their role in the household.
Yeah.
What are some things that you may work on with them, or different ways of doing that?
Well, that's a big picture question. So each of you has your own experience as an individual, but also potentially as a partner. So some people go through a treatment as an individual or as a single. Some people are going through a divorce. Some people are going through a fair recovery. Some people are in a healthy, great marriage. We're all in different seasons. We're all in different relationships. So that treatment will depend on, so I do marriage and family systems therapy. So treatment will depend on the system that the client is a part of. So your support network, your community, do you have community? Do you not have community? Do you have a partner that's involved or not involved? Are you solo and trying to navigate this as an individual who lives by themselves? All of that will be part of how I decide to work with clients through their experience of treatment. And then everyone responds differently, right? On the other side of treatment, some people are going to have major body image issues, and others might feel like relieved about certain things or excited about a new season of their body.
Or proud of what their body did.
Proud of what their body did, yes. And so for us as women, reiterating over and over again in the midst of the cultural message, we are not our bodies. We are much, much more than our bodies. Our bodies are something that just battled this really big thing called cancer. You made it, you're making it. How can you see yourself as more than just your aesthetic, right? It's really easy for us as females to get caught up in our aesthetics in the daily. And so I think the people that I've worked with that have gone through cancer, battling cancer and treatment, they really come to face or have to come to face to face with a lot of really big term existential questions. Life and death, what really matters, what are my priorities, what's really most important, right? So a lot of you have probably gone through that or are going through that. That can really be a huge perspective shift for people, and oftentimes shifting into that new season or that new paradigm, that new perspective can bring with it a lot of new changes. And so therapy in theory would be kind of your safe place or your home base, your anchoring point to come in and check in and say, hey, this is kind of a new thing that I'm experiencing. What do you think of this? Does this feel healthy? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Let's talk about new boundaries, how I want to do relationships well, or if it's terminal, how do I want to end well? How do I want to pursue grieving with my loved ones through this season? Just a lot of really big questions that therapy hopefully can be a resource in helping people navigate through.
Yeah, one thing we were kind of discussing before we started filming was some of the exercises that are potential for different clients depending on what works for them, what clicks with them. I found this very interesting. So you said something about mirror, about exercise. Just talk a little bit about potential exercise, because I thought they were interesting.
For people learning how to celebrate their body?
Yeah,
so depending on what type of cancer, right? Some people with breast cancer have mastectomies, a partial or a full mastectomy. Some women decide they want to have an augmentation or implants, and some don't. I'm aware of some women that have decided to tattoo the part of their body where they've had breasts removed and celebrate that and kind of turn it into a work of art or a canvas or kind of like a banner of, we just freaking beat this, which is awesome. So everyone's going to choose to celebrate or move through that season of new body image with breasts differently. Same thing with GYN cancers, right? Everything looks different around that for some people. So body image stuff, there are all sorts of ways, and it depends on the individual. So I always like to know like personality and temperament, because some people are more sensory and some people are more in their head or in their gut.
Me.
Right? And so so for us as humans and individuals and as females, sometimes finding new forms of exercise or recreational movement that feels life-giving for my body. So maybe I want to go explore all the national parks in the state that I live in, and I'm going to get out and like enjoy nature and really bond and slow down from my career and being really busy, and I'm going to go slow down and enjoy like my surroundings. Maybe I get into yoga and mindfulness practice. Maybe I get into enjoying the creative parts of myself as a photographer or as a canvas painter or as a sculptor, and I enjoy just, you know, taking images of the human body or humans in general and celebrating them and finding the beauty in all of them. Maybe I get into weightlifting because I've never been, and that makes me feel strong and empowered. There are all sorts of things that we can pursue. Body, like Kaylee was talking about, I have a mirror exercise that for most females is terrifying, with or without cancer treatment.
Yeah.
So the body mirror exercise can be really terrifying, but really telling and identifying and life-giving for people, because you stand in front of the mirror and say, what about me is enjoyable? What about me is beautiful? What about me is delightful? What about me is strong and powerful? And what is something that maybe I've never noticed about myself before, but is actually something I'm really excited about, or I can actually start to enjoy for the first time in this new season of, hey, I just survived this really big thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So those were just a couple things to kind of give an idea. Like I said, we're in the Chattanooga area. I go to Karisa myself, so I obviously recommend her. There are several others in town, and my first appointment with Karisa was, if we don't match, let me help you find someone that matches. That is key. And finding someone in your area, same process. Find someone you connect with and trust. Karisa has social media, website, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I Love Us, and I'll put the link in there. If you guys want to see some of her videos, information, all that stuff is fantastic.
Thank you.
And then if you have any questions, reach out to me, and I'll try to help facilitate without overwhelming Karisa here.
Yeah. And another resource I want to make you all aware of, because some people aren't aware of this, if you get on Psychology Today is a fantastic resource where a lot of therapists and psychologists and mental health professionals have themselves listed according to zip code and insurance panels and areas of practice that they feel most confident in. So Psychology Today, if you're not in the Chattanooga area or you're in an underserved area but live in a state where they do telehealth, etc., get on Psychology Today and Google professionals that might work with issues related to intimacy, sex therapy, marriage, family, whatever the presenting concerns are, and that should be a really helpful tool as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Thanks you all.
Thank you all.